Hey guys, Vertigo here, and today we'll be looking at how I feed my mantises. We're going to start with flightless fruit flies, which I use to feed my smallest mantises. In this case, we've got two Archimantis nymphs. One is L3 and the other is L2. We'll feed the L3 some of the flies and I'll feed the L2 something else. Taking a healthy fruit fly culture, I want to separate some of the flies. I've heard tips that Vaseline would help keep the flies inside an open top container, but it doesn't work, so don't do that. I tap some flies into a separate container and cap it. This makes it easier to manage the flies, especially if there's a lot of flies already in the main culture. Carefully, I remove the lid of my nymph cup and I use a brush to manipulate the flies into the container. They're all going to try to crawl up immediately, but tapping the containers and using the brush, I can avoid having too many flies run off. Having a taller container is an advantage. Carefully, again, I cap both containers. Now my Archimantis nymph has plenty of flies to eat. Just a little footnote here, fruit flies are hecka small. Either have some fine mesh or tiny holes in your lids. Otherwise, the fruit flies can squeeze out of larger holes and escape your containers. For the crickets, I have this holding container here, but I have different sizes of crickets in. I don't use egg cartons, but toilet paper rolls instead. I take them and shake crickets into a deep cup. Once I have some crickets in the cup, I pick and choose what I want to feed and separate them. I use long tongs to manipulate the crickets wherever I need them. Extras go back into the enclosure. I don't need this many crickets. I want to separate tiny pinheads from the larger crickets too. The large ones are picked up and moved into a different cup, leaving me with pinheads in this cup. Let's set aside the larger crickets. We'll feed the pinheads to this L2 nymph. Like the fruit flies, I use a brush to manipulate the pinheads into the container. Then I cap it carefully. That's it for pinheads. With larger crickets, I want to be more cautious as they are nasty, bitey, omnivorous monsters that will bite you and your mantis. Preferably, I would freeze and offer dead crickets on a toothpick, but not every mantis will take them. I only ever place them live into an adult mantis enclosure, and usually when I do, I don't feed anything particularly big for the mantis's size. For my non-adults, who will only take live prey, I put them in a temporary container so that they aren't left alone in the main enclosure with the crickets. Crickets have the potential to kill mantises during a molt if left in, or can even attack them at other times. I take a container like this and place in some mesh. Pop in a live cricket, and then the nymph. I keep them like this for about an hour. If it's not eaten by then, I'm going to separate them and try again another day. As mentioned before, it's really best to feed crickets freshly killed, and in my case, frozen. This big female nymph here takes all of her food freshly killed without an issue. I find this especially useful because she was partially blind from a bad molt in the male when I got her. There was no way that she could even hunt live prey. Now that her eyes are fine after molting several times, she can take live prey on, but she still takes dead crickets like a champ. Here's a dead cricket. It thawed out pretty quickly with how warm it was here today. It takes a moment for her to realize that it's food, but when she does, she really goes for it. Yes, eat my beautiful little monster. For now, that's how I feed my mantises. I'm still learning new techniques every day, so I'm sure in 6 months' time, I'll be doing something a little different. The current processes you've seen here are a lot faster off camera when I'm not trying to show things. Hope that helps, especially for those Australians out there who raise mantises and don't have as much food options. This has been Vertigo, and I'll see you all next time.